The 1960s was a decade that was defined by significant social and political upheaval. This was the era that we saw the civil rights and the anti-war movement, think the hippies, against the global tensions backdrop of the Vietnam War and the Cold War. And much closer to home, things were looking brighter. Malaysia, as a relatively young country, has just newly gained its independence and was developing fast. Petaling Jaya, as we know it today, is still well obscure. KL was the big star, but PJ? Well, it was the ambitious kid next door. And every ambitious kid needs a focal point, a place to shop, a place to be. Hey guys, it's Ryan and today we're checking out a mall that was once a beating heart for Petaling Jaya folks. But today, it's just, well, it has stopped. Let's check out Wisma Thrifty. And guys, if this is the first time you're on this channel, to stick around because this is a channel where you'll get nostalgic stories of your first hangout spot, your first ponting spot, and even where you had your first date with your ex. Rings a bell or beautiful memories? Well, if you don't want to miss out on those beautiful memories of the past, remember to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Thanks a lot! Wisma Thrifty was born in Malaysia's early days in the 1960s. And get this, it was the first proper supermarket in Petaling Jaya, before the Jaya supermarket, which we have reviewed in the past. You can click here if you want to watch the history of Jaya Shopping Centre. Forget your fancy malls, your gigantic hypermarkets. This was it. This was the pinnacle of modern shopping for early PJ residents, and they came here for their imported goods, their fresh produce, and the taste of that cosmopolitan life. This place was also a pioneer in convenience. It was one of the country's early KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken outlets. According to the Age plot, imagine the buzz, the scent of 11 herbs and spices wafting out onto Jalan Barat, making every passerby hungry. This wasn't just a place to shop, it was the social hub. But unfortunately, I couldn't find much older photos or even videos of Wisma Thrifty on the web. So hey, if you guys have stories of those nostalgic past, do drop it down in the comment section below. But fast forward to today, well, the current status, the music stopped. The lights went out. The last major tenants, including Giant Supermarket and Courts Furniture, eventually moved out. The building, which was sold back in 2013, is now vacant, shuttered, and utterly abandoned. It's a ghost town in a concrete jungle. Now for the deep cut backstory. Before all the supermarkets and furniture stores, the land actually belonged to the Malaysian Trades Union Congress, or MTUC. I know, what a big surprise. Who sold it in 1993. That means this piece of property, right, this commercial landmark, is tied into the very history of Malaysia's workers and labour movement. Fuyo! Don't play. It's not just commercial history, it's national history. Now I'm here on a Sunday evening about 5 p.m. and you can see that this building has just become a faded old structure. This is a monument to a simpler time, a silent, grand old dame, just waiting for us to uncover her secrets. I mean, just look at the irony here. Our grand old dame is surrounded by gleaming glass and steel. She sits on a piece of land that is quite frankly a gold mine, right? Her address is premium, her location is legendary. This juxtaposition of the new and the forgotten is what makes Wisma Thrifty so compelling. And you even have a PJ Hilton hotel just opposite the Wisma Thrifty. And this PJ Hilton is also quite interesting. It is about 40 over years already. Back in 1982 when it was taken over by Hilton. Initially it was the Jayapuri Hotel. Yeah, so this place, lots of history. I can imagine a decade or more ago, this was the stairs that people used to enter Wisma Thrifty. And you can see that the design is quite old because on the side there is actually quite narrow for you to push down the trolley. But nonetheless, it seems that this place has a lot of amenities, useful amenities. Looks like RHB Bank with the signs and the blue color signature. And then also, there used to be a secret recipe here. Somehow, I believe that the parking is still open for rent for the public, and it's the only semblance of life left in this building itself. The future? It's the big question mark hanging over this entire block. It's like trying to figure out why your wife is angry again after you bought her the necklace that she asked for. The land value is insane. When it was sold, the talk was all about a massive redevelopment. Tower, service apartments, modern offices. It's only a matter of time before the developers make their move, but it has been it's been more than 10 years. This empty shell is still resisting. It's standing its ground, daring the future to knock it down. So, will we ever see the inside of this building again? Hold on. Before that, let me just rewind time back and let you know a little bit about the history. In 2013, the owner, Thrifty Realty, sold this 1.06 acre parcel of prime PJ land for a whopping 42 million ringgit. That is serious ringgit, people. And who was the brave or perhaps ambitious buyer? None other than Scoop Resources Sendirian Berhad. Not so Thrifty. Who is Scoop Resources Sendirian Berhad, you might ask? Well, they are controlled by the same people who own the franchise for a much sweeter business, Baskin Robbins, in Malaysia. So, a big ice cream player wanted to take a scoop of PJ's prime real estate. But what was the plan? You don't just drop 42 million ringgit just to run a slightly tired old mall, right? The buzz, according to industry sources, was for a total makeover. Think Kim Kardashian kind of redevelopment. They saw the potential for service apartments or SOHO, small office, home office units. Why? Because this area right by PJ Hilton, Federal Highway, lacked residential options. Okay, back in 2013, friends, not today. The market was hungry for homes in the heart of PJ's commercial center. The old 4-story building was clearly earmarked for demolition, making way for a sleek, modern, multi-story development, taking advantage of the area's commercial plot ratio. Okay, thanks Ryan, Mr. Captain Obvious. But you still haven't addressed the elephant in the room. Or maybe the mall in the room. Or more on the land. You get the gist. If the land is so good, the plan was so logical, why is Wisma Thrifty still standing here empty and abandoned years later? Well, I guess it all comes down to the price. When the sale happened, analysts immediately remarked that the price of the land alone, roughly 900 ringgit per square foot, was pretty steep. To make a new development profitable, they would have had to launch units at a price high enough to cover that massive initial land cost. And analysts at the time suggested they would have to wait for overall PJ land prices to catch up before they could launch a successful project. Well, I guess after 10 years, it still hasn't caught up yet. They paid top dollars, possibly betting on a fast market spike that didn't materialize. Number 2, market saturation and timing. While the residential idea was sound, the market changed. The surrounding area saw a glut of new high-end commercial and mixed-use projects like PJ8 and others. The market for high-priced service apartments in the PJ Central area became crowded, making a new project launch at the necessary high price point a huge risk. They likely waited, and as they waited, their anchor tenants eventually left, leaving the buildings generating no income. So, would we ever see Wisma Thrifty reopening again and relive those nostalgic memories? Well, do leave your comments down below whether this would actually happen. And guys, that is how an iconic piece of history becomes an iconic eyesore, caught between a massive price tag, a bold but risky development plan, and a changing real estate market in Malaysia. Thanks for watching.